So a few weeks back, do you remember Jesus was turning water into wine in Cana of Galilee? Today we're back in that town, down the road from Nazareth, and a royal official from Capernaum, which was a town on the northwestern shore of the Sea of Galilee, heard that Jesus was nearby. So he leaves his ill son to go up into the hills of Cana to find Jesus. We don't know if this royal official was a Jew or a Gentile, but we can imagine he's used to getting what he wants. And now he's in that moment that nobody wants to be in, the moment he cannot fix with his own power, his own resources, his own gumption. His son is dying. If my son were that ill, I wonder if I would be able to leave his bedside, even if it were to go get help. This man must have been desperate indeed if he could peel himself away from his son's sickbed to try for one last chance of healing, walking 23 miles in search of a cure. Jesus' answer is maybe not the best in a pastoral care sense. Unless you see signs and wonders, you will not believe. This answer to the man is offered in the plural. Unless y'all see signs and wonders. Does he turn away from the royal official and turn to the camera? Does he turn to the crowd? Does he turn to us? Or is Jesus maybe talking to himself, wondering what he needs to do to get people to believe in him? We've already been told to remember the wedding at Cana, and if you recall that story, Jesus is also trying to figure out his role, remember? "My hour has not yet come," he told his mother, before she then told the servants what he was going to do when he does his first sign, and this, we're told, is his second. It is not a pastorally sensitive answer to give to a man whose child is near death. And I'm not even sure Jesus is correct if he's actually talking to the man, because the man clearly believed Jesus could heal his son. Why else would he left his son's deathbed to try? This man is not there to be dazzled or impressed. He's desperate. The royal official pretty much ignores the comment about signs and wonders and stays on topic. "Sir, come now, before my little boy dies." And Jesus turns back to the man and says, "Go, your son lives." So the man believed, we're told, and goes home. And on the way, he meets one of his slaves who has come to tell him his son is alive. And he realizes that the moment when Jesus spoke the word is when his child was healed. So two things occur to me about the signs and wonders. First, the signs and wonders are only known because people talk to each other about what they've seen. The royal official heard what Jesus said, and then his slaves saw the son get better, but it wasn't until they talked to each other that the miracle became visible. Similarly to the wedding at Cana, the guests didn't see their water glasses turn into wine glasses before their very eyes. The miracle happened off stage. The servants knew what happened, and we know about it because the servants must have told somebody, right? In John's gospel, it's as if Jesus somehow wishes humanity could believe without signs and wonders, but he gives them to us because we need them. He does it in a way that requires us, though, to be looking for them. He requires us to talk to each other about them. At the end of this gospel, after the crucifixion, and resurrected Jesus will appear in an upper room to his disciples. And Thomas, the disciple, is not there when it happens. Thomas says, when his friends tell him about what he's missed, that he wouldn't believe it until he saw it with his own eyes. So the next time Jesus is there, he calls Thomas over. And Thomas says, "Now I believe." And do you remember what Jesus says? "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have seen and have not seen and have yet come to belief." Jesus knew he wasn't going to be there in person to show us signs and wonders for the rest of eternity. He needed to figure out how we could get each other to help us see them. The second thing that occurs to me about signs and wonders in this gospel is that they're all rear view mirror events. We put a timeline together only after we're on the other side of the miracle. It's only then we can see the sign and wonder. Being followers of Jesus doesn't mean we're exempt from bad things happening to us. We'd like all of the stories to be like this one where the boy is healed and the tragedy is averted. But I think that through the good and the bad, when we reflect back, we can see signs that point to God's presence. God does not cause bad things to happen so we'll see the signs. Rather, God is seeking our welfare and flourishing even when things are bad. As Paul says in the 8th chapter to the Church of Rome, in all things, God is working for good. So the royal official is walking back to Capernaum with belief but without proof. And it's only when his servant meets him on the road, only when he can put together the timeline, does he know that there's been a miracle. In my family, when I was growing up, our life changed when my dad went blind. He had multiple detachments of his retinas over the course of a couple years. And I think that today that surgery would be more successful at restoring his sight than it was in the 70s. We prayed for a miracle. He remained blind. Looking forward, there was no miracle we could see. But now, looking back at that time, I see plenty. Even as we all still wish my dad's vision had been restored, I am also grateful for the time that I had with my dad that my peers didn't get to have with their dads. He was home with us every day after school and not working late at the office. My parents had, just not long before he went blind, they had lost a bidding war to buy a bigger house a few months before that first surgery. Looking back, we realized if they had taken out that massive, big mortgage, we wouldn't have been able to afford to stay in that house once he lost his job. The stability that came with having secure housing made all the difference for us. There are so many things from that time when things seemed unrelentingly awful and scary when we were looking forward. But looking back, it seems different. There were signs pointing us toward gifts we didn't want to have to see. Jesus, the Word made flesh, speaks words, and the boy lives. So why does Jesus need to tell the crowd, unless you all see signs and wonders, you're not going to believe? Why does he say it to us? Are we, as a congregation, are we looking for signs and wonders so we'll believe right now? And what does it even mean to believe? In The Heart of Christianity, Marcus Borg wrote this: prior to the 17th century, the word believe did not mean believing in the truth of statements or propositions, whether problematic or not. Grammatically, the object of believing was not statements, but a person. Moreover, the contexts in which it is used in pre-modern English make clear that it meant this: to hold dear, to prize, to give one's loyalty to give one's self to commit oneself. It meant faithfulness, allegiance, loyalty, commitment, and trust. Most simply, to believe means to love. Indeed, the English words believe and beloved are related. What we believe in is what we beloved. And faith is about beloving God. To believe in God is to beloved God. Faith is about beloving God and all that God beloves. Faith is the way of the heart, he says. So can signs and wonders point us to beloving God? And what are the signs and wonders we think we need today? That may be an impossible list. But if I were asking for a miracle today, I might say, Jesus, please just get rid of COVID right now. 900,000 people have died in our country so far. We can all see the disruptions and the pain and the loss and the anxiety. I don't need to belabor it. But looking back over the past 2 years through the rearview mirror, I can see signs and wonders along the way. Vaccines developed in record time, for one. Thank you, science. As a congregation, we've been able to continue to be a community even when we could not be here in our building. We have come through this time in pretty good shape, all things considered. Personally, I was interviewing to be your pastor right when COVID hit. I was here literally March 7th and 8th of 2020, and then your city shut down. The fact that I moved and started a new ministry in the middle of a shutdown, and I feel happy and called and in the right place, surely that's a sign of a miracle, right? Now, would I have preferred to have everyone in the building right away and life going on as normal? Absolutely. But looking back on it, I can also see gift in meeting you one person at a time, in Zoom meetings or in parks for walks. I can see the gift in working with this staff who has consistently been able to think up new and creative ways to build community when we couldn't be in the building. I can see the expansion of our community beyond just the people who can be here in the building Sunday at 10 in the morning. Hi, everybody online. Looking in the rear view is not without risks, because if you look back and all you see is the glory days, then you're going to miss the signs and wonders that might be there for us to find. Looking back throughout Calvary's history, can we see the signs and wonders, even when things didn't happen the way we wanted them to? Looking back in your own life, can you see them? The invitation to look for signs and wonders reorients how we see the world. And it reminds me of a poem by Mary Oliver, written not long before she died. She writes, "I have refused to live locked in the orderly house of reason and proofs. The world I live in and believe in is wider than that. And anyway, what's wrong with maybe? You wouldn't believe what once or twice I have seen, so I'll just tell you this. Only if there are angels in your head will you ever possibly see one." I think maybe when Jesus says, "Unless y'all see signs and wonders, you won't believe," I think he's paraphrasing Mary Oliver. He's trying to figure out how to get us to put miracles into our heads so that we could ever possibly see one. Friends, no matter where we find ourselves in life, may we help each other see the signs and wonders all around us.